Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Vormithrax and this is episode 11 of our Let's Play for Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. And our character Victor just got back from a very successful raid into town. We did encounter a few problems along the way and some zombies made things interesting for us. We found out that the firehouse I was hoping to get into has got some automated sentry drones out front that are going to make life a little difficult, so that'll be a future project for us to figure out how to get around those. We just got back into our base after dragging the various loot items that we had found in. We got a bunch of really useful tools, and we've got some really cool options we can pursue now that we've got a little better equipment to deal with. So we've made a pretty nice little nest here of raw materials and equipment, and now it's time to put some of that to use. So in kind of reviewing our character Victor's situation, you can see we've got some damage to pretty much every location. That's probably going to heal if we get a decent night's sleep, and that's my first goal, is to make sure that we've got a very comfortable place and safe place for him to sleep. He's also thirsty and tired. That tired is going to become a problem once it continues to get worse. We'll definitely need to make sure we get him some sleep pretty soon. He's also very cold. Temperature is rising, but at the moment it is cold. It's snowing outside, and the actual environment, I don't think I mentioned, but it's set in New England in the springtime, so it's really cold out there early spring in New England, so that's what we're dealing with. As it moves into summertime, it'll be a lot warmer, and we'll have to worry about all the clothing layers and balancing protection versus warmth and cold factors. But for now, let's take a look at a few things. So in our last run, we picked up a bunch of different items. We got some tools. We got a hammer. We got a full crowbar instead of our makeshift crowbar. We got a screwdriver set and a wrench. So that's going a pretty long way to having all of the utilitarian tools that we need to get some things done. So goal number one, we need to make a bed. And what I'm going to do is we're going to take advantage of the basement in our shelter here. I'm going to actually build the bed down there. The reason is it puts us below ground, puts us in the dark, and it makes it so that it's very unlikely that anything's going to wander in. So if we slept out here in the shelter, even though we've got walls and doors and curtained windows and that, it's possible a monster wandering by could detect us somehow. But we get an added level of safety by doing it in the basement. So what do we need to make a bed? Well, let's bring up the construction menu. That's Shift 8, and that shows us this list, construction, with all things selected. We can use the arrow keys to kind of move between various categories, or we can just hit F to search and type in bed. And we've got a few choices. We've got a makeshift bed, a straw bed, and a full standard bed. So to do the full bed, we'd need wood sawing of one or more. We don't have a saw. We might be able to build one, but we'd also need 2x4s, nails, which we've got, and then either 4 sheets or 2 blankets, or downfill blankets, and so on. I believe I could probably pretty quickly and easily run out and grab that, but I think I'm just going to build the makeshift bed for this first one. You can see it's highlighted in blue. And the other problem with the full bed is we can't do it actually. It's fabrication level 4 and tailoring level 4. We don't have that. So if you look here, makeshift bed, fab 2 is all that's needed. That we've got. It's going to take 45 minutes to build the bed, so this is where you've got to be careful about the time frames. That'll put us at nearly 5 a.m. So what we're going to need to build it, though, is 4 2x4s, some nails, and either 2 sheets or a blanket. So let's grab those materials. So we know our raw material pile is diagonally down below us, so I'm just going to open this inventory up. We'll grab 4 2x4s, and probably only need 20 or so nails, if that, and we'll grab a couple of sheets. Alright, and that should give us the raw materials we need to build it. And how much inventory space do I have left? Almost full, so I'm not going to grab anything else for the moment. We'll just head over to the stairs, go down a level, and we're not going to go too far in. We'll just build it kind of right here to our left. So I'm going to go Shift 8 again. Just find the bed again. Build makeshift bed, and it asks us where to construct it. I'm just going to pick this space to my left. And you can see over here some time went by. We got some pain indications from our hands and feet. and then the bed has been created. So when I point at it, you can see over here in the pop-up window, it's a makeshift bed. Alright, so we've got a bed. We're going to go ahead and go back upstairs and take a look at our clothing pile real quick. Winter boots, winter gloves. No, we're going to take the emergency blanket, the emergency jacket. And do we have any other blankets? I don't think I brought back any blankets. We've got one more sheet. Bunch of rags. I'll have to make a note to bring some blankets beyond what I've got here. Basically, we want to feather our nest or make that bed as comfortable as possible. So we're going to drop a few items onto the same space as the bed. We're going to put the emergency jacket there. Folded emergency blanket. That we're going to unfold and then deploy. So we'll just put the bed there for now. Apply. Folded blanket. That unpacks it. And so now we have a full emergency blanket. So we'll drop that in the position as well. Alright, so now we have a blanket and a jacket there. That will help keep us warm, make the bed more comfortable, and it does make a difference. So I usually recommend if you got some spare clothing around, like jackets and shirts and winter coats and things like that, that you don't have an immediate need for, just drop them on your bed to make it a little more comfortable and to keep you warm. So that should be all we need there. On a future run, I'll bring back a pillow or two and maybe another couple warmer blankets just to bulk that up a bit. But alright, first mission accomplished. We have our bed created, so that's good to go. Next, let's take care of a few other things. How's our status? I'm not sure where that painkillers message is coming from. I don't remember taking a painkiller. I'm not sure where that attribute actually came from. We are still way too cold, so let's take a look at our pile here. Wool scarf, let's grab that. That can probably help. Folded poncho, let's grab that. Oh, we do have a blanket and some pillows. I forgot I have two piles here, so let's go ahead and get those dropped off down in our bed. Alright, we're going to drop both pillows. Now we're going to be... Oops, keep the scarf. Drop the blanket. Alright. Great. So we got blankets, pillows, and some other emergency items. Great. That's everything we need for the bed. So we're good to go there. I'm going to stand up by the fire here. If I'm going to stand around doing stuff, I might as well be next to the warm fire to get warmed up a bit. Alright, I wanted to look at that poncho. We're going to activate, so A, and then the folded poncho to unpack it. But I'd like to take a look at the information on it. So an unfolded poncho. So it's a torso and arms are the areas that it covers. It's an outer layer, and in my conversation an episode or so ago when I talked about the clothing and layering, one thing I didn't mention or didn't talk about is that there's actually another factor involved. There are 4 to 5 different what the game considers layers of clothing. And this isn't in regards to... Let me open up the other screen. Let's look at torso again. Alright, so I had mentioned the innermost versus outermost. That's the positioning of the items on your body so that when you get attacked, the outermost items are going to get hit first and apply their protection before the innermost does, and you want to protect your valuable things towards the innermost side so they don't get damaged and destroyed. But there's another thing going on. If we look at the long sleeve shirt, for example, right here is a message that says it fits you well. Watch that same spot as I move between things. So this says it's worn around your waist and fits you well. This one says worn over your other clothes and also worn over your other clothes. It's that message that I'm pointing out. So the fitted we know about. Fitted items take less encumbrance, which is fine. This one has a hood and pockets, which you can actually deploy the hood to use it or to pull it back again if your head is cold. But what I want to mention here is this is worn over other clothes. Same with that one versus this one says worn around your waist versus no message on the shirt. And this says this is strapped to you. So the layers that are involved are skin tight, which is basically like underwear or things of that nature, things that are right up against your skin. Then there's normal clothing layer. That would be pants and shirts, things like that. Outer layer, which is going to be jackets primarily, or coats. Then there's two other ones. Strapped, which is like the utility or like the backpack is strapped onto you. So strapped items are usually backpacks and bags. It can also be purses, or if you've got a strap on a rifle, for example, you can wear it so that it puts a little of encumbrance on you, but it doesn't take up volume or space in your inventory, so you can carry more loot. So things like that are in the strapped. And then finally, belt. Now, the reason I mention this and why it's important is this bonus value right here and right here. This is the normal encumbrance, which you can easily figure just by adding these encumbrance numbers up. So encumbrance of 11 for the backpack, and plus the encumbrance values for the other ones, you're going to equal 39. The reason there's a +5 is because you're only allowed to have one item per layer location without incurring a penalty. So if we look down below at the jean jacket and the coat, both of these are part of the outer layer. That's the part that says this is worn over your other clothes. So that's the outer layer. Because I have two items that use the outer layer, I'm getting this +5 additional encumbrance added on. If I put another item that was an outer layer, I would get an even larger penalty added on. So ideally, you want to have all of your locations, torso, head, eyes, mouth, and so on, fully outfitted. And ideally, you would only have one item for each of those layers that I mentioned. One skin-tight item, one normal layer, one outer layer, and no more than one strapped or belt layer. That way you don't incur this penalty. So I'm going to take the coat off for a moment, and you'll see what I mean here. So if I do Shift T to take off the winter coat, and then open that screen back up again, obviously my torso encumbrance went down quite a bit because the coat is very bulky, but it also dropped the +5 additional encumbrance, because now I am down to just a single item in that outer layer. Only the jean jacket is on the outer layer. So that's where those additional numbers come from. They're additional penalties because you have too many items that belong to the same layer. And like I said, this is totally separate from what order the clothing you put in the innermost to outermost system. So don't confuse those as layers versus these items I'm mentioning. And the other thing I wanted to mention is over on this side is a pretty handy little quick reference that shows you also innermost to outermost. Meaning things at the top of the section's list are the innermost, and at the bottom is the outermost. But it shows your torso and all the items associated with that area, all your head items, eyes, mouth, and so on. So you can see at a glance where everything is, and I can tell I'm pretty well protected in my torso, but I have nothing for eyes. I have only the rain hood on my head. I've only got sock mitts on my hand. And you want multiple layers in order to provide you protection against infection. So I think that fully covers about everything you should need to know in this area. So hopefully I won't come back here and have to talk a whole bunch about it in the future. But if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them down below, and I'll answer any that I can. Alright, so back to what we were doing. I'm going to put that coat back on real quick. I'm also going to wear the scarf, and so we've got the pretty heavy numbers. What can we do about it? So I'm keeping the backpack, I'm keeping the shirt, utility vest. It's really a choice between the jean jacket and the winter coat. Given how cold it is, I'm keeping the winter coat, but I'm going to take the jean jacket off. I just don't think I get enough of a benefit out of it. The small additional carrying capacity just isn't enough to warrant the additional encumbrance. I'm going to miss the 3 and 3 protection value, and it's something I might come back to and put on again in the future, but for now I'm going to go ahead and do Shift T to take off that jean jacket. Check our numbers again. So we're down to 34 and 0, so that's fine. So we've got no positive or no extra other than the mouth, which I don't care. Alright, but we do have temperature problems. Now, we're standing next to a fire right now, so that's going to throw these values off. It really makes a difference when we're out in the cold. So what else can we look at here? Oh yeah, I was going to look at that poncho. So let's take a look at it again here. Alright, so the important things I'm looking at are where it's going to cover. It's torso and arms, just like any jacket. It's 90% coverage, so it's got a good coverage value. Doesn't do anything thermally, no warmth value. Also has no encumbrance, though. That's very, very good. So 0 encumbrance, no storage. It does provide some protection, including acid protection. 1 point of environmental. Alright, lightweight plastic rain poncho with a hood. Use it to fold for storage. Alright. I believe... I'm not sure if we're going to end up getting a layering... Let's find out. I'm going to wear the folded poncho and then check. Oops. Check here. Yeah, we got a tiny one, so it did add a small amount onto the encumbrance, because we do have multiple items in that outer layer now. Even though it has 0 encumbrance, it's still a second item in that layer, so the first item, the winter coat, is providing a portion of its additional. Alright, well, we're going to take it off again. We'll keep it in mind, but I'm not going to put it on for the moment. So we've got boots, gloves, socks. Oh yeah, the duster. I like dusters quite a bit, but I would have to switch out. So it's got warmth of 15. Oh, here's another thing we can do. I haven't mentioned this before. If I want to compare items, instead of opening inventory and looking at them individually, if you do Shift I, so capital I, you can pick 2 items and it will give you side-by-side comparisons. So I want to look at the winter coat as well as the duster that's on the floor here. And so now, whoops, I'll do it again. I can't move the mouse while that window's open. It'll close the window immediately, so just you'll have to look. I can't point at things in this mode, but the winter coat and duster, so we can see them side by side information wise, and the red versus green coloring indicates which one is better or more valuable at something. So if the duster, for example, is 5.75 liters, it's in green, because the winter coat is 6.75 liters of volume, which is worse. So the duster's volume is considered better. It's less volume, so it's got the green coloration. So that's the reason you're seeing color differences between the numbers. Alright, so winter coat is more encumbering, less storage, way more warmth. Look at that warmth value on the winter coat. Warmth of 70 versus a 15 for the duster. So the duster is not going to give us anywhere near the same environmental or warmth protection that the winter coat does. But do we need 70 warmth on our torso and arms? We probably do, actually. So where I would like the duster for its other factors, we might have to wait for some warmer weather before we switch to the duster. I think it's going to be necessary to stay in the winter coat while we're in this early springtime in New England. Alright, so no on the duster. What else could we do, though? We've got... We're pretty well layered in the torso. Our problem areas is the head. We need to warm up our head and our hands primarily, with the legs coming in next. So, alright. Well, let's do this then. We'll go to our Shift 7, which is our construction or fabrication menu, crafting menu, and I'm going to tab over to the armor section. This is armor and clothing. And I'm going to go to the head with the arrow keys, so we're in the head tab or section, and these are the items that we know currently how to make things for the head. So we've got a Balaclava, which is a pretty easy to make early game item. It usually will list the highest difficulty thing at the top, so you'll see difficulty 2, and as I go down the list, the difficulty dropped to 1, and then 0. And then when you hit the gray things, it resets that list, so it's 2s, 1s, and then 0s. So we don't have the materials immediately in the area to make the things down there. But let's take a look. So what I'm wanting to find is a head item that provides warmth. So a patchwork scarf, and we already have a wool scarf, will protect the mouth, provides coverage and warmth. A keffiyeh, it's got good warmth value. It's also for the mouth only. Turban is for the head, provides 10 warmth. Scarf again is mouth only. And a pot helmet doesn't provide much in the way of warmth. I'm just working my way through and watching that warmth area. Cotton hat is for the head and provides warmth of 20. But the balaclava provides for the head and the mouth. It's a close to skin layer and provides 95% coverage and 30 warmth. I think that's going to be ideal. So we're going to try to make a balaclava. Now this has got difficulty 2 and skill level of 2. So there's a chance we could fail this. It's going to use 3 of our threads, 4 of our rags, and we need a tool with sewing of 1 or more. We've got that met with that sewing kit that we looted. So let's just try to make it. I'm just going to press enter. And it says you can't see to craft. Of course we can't. We're not over by our fire or next to the computer. I'm going to go by the fire because the light is brighter over here. And another thing to note is we're crafting now, so I want as much experience from this as I can, so we level up our tailoring. Our focus is 93, so we're just a little bit below the 100 midpoint that is what we want to start at and push that up, but it's a lot better than that 50 and 60 we had seen earlier. So we'll try this again. And there's a hotkey to redo a command or recipe, but I've forgotten what it is. We're just going to go back to the balaclava. And we crafted the balaclava and it fits. So we're going to wear the balaclava. Great. And let's take a look here. Alright, numbers look much better. So now we've got only a green 7 for the head position, and our mouth is probably way overheated. So it is way overheated. So let's take off the wool scarf. That's not necessary anymore. The balaclava is going to take care of our needs. So we'll just do take off, wool scarf, and let's check that number again. Alright, much more reasonable. So our mouth is a little chilly, but not too bad. So what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So within reason. So not a problem. Everything looks fairly manageable, but when this is, like I said, when we're standing right next to a fire, so I'm going to keep the scarf on me just in case. What else do we need to look at? So we've got our torso pretty well covered. We've got the balaclava and a rain hood for our head. We're not wearing any protection for the eyes. We haven't found any yet. I'm not going to make any. Our mouth is well covered. It says we still have the scarf on. I thought I took that off. Oh, I had 2 scarves on? No wonder. Yeah, I had the wool scarf and a knit scarf on. Alright, that's why it got so hot. Okay, next up, let's look at our arms and hands. So we got a long sleeve shirt and a winter coat. For layering, I mean, we could find or buy or craft an undershirt to go underneath our long sleeve shirt. So that's something we might look at. And then a better pair of gloves for our hands, something that's got hopefully some warmth and some protection value, I think would be valuable. We've got shorts and jeans for our legs, and we've got the winter boots. You can't really wear more than 1 pair of foot items, so that's pretty much set. So let's take a look at something, an undershirt for our arms. That'll also probably end up adding onto our torso, but that's fine. And a better pair of gloves. So undershirt and gloves. So let's go back to our crafting menu, switch over to the armor column, and we'll go to the arms section. So a pair of arm warmers, just uses rags and some thread, and it's got good coverage, good warmth. It's a close to skin item, which is what we want. We want that layer, so it won't conflict. It only provides a very small amount of protection, which is not unusual. I mean, it's just some cloth, but every little point counts, and it's very little encumbrance. So all in all, I think it would be a benefit. So we're going to go ahead and craft one of those. It was successful. We'll wear our arm warmers. Go back into the crafting menu, go to armor, and let's take a look at hands. Alright, so glove liners, light gloves, hand wraps, Leather gloves, we need leather patches. We might actually be able to do that. We've got some boots, I believe, that we can disassemble and we might get leather patches out of. We only need 2, so that's something to look at. I like the leather gloves initially. They provide great coverage and warmth, and also a couple points of protection. I would prefer glove liners and leather gloves, typically. So glove liners are listed here, and those are also going to provide warmth with a point of protection. So, and that's a close to skin level versus a standard normal layer. So once again, they won't conflict and add additional encumbrance. So let's try that. Let's see if we can get together 2 leather patches. What do we have? Am I carrying anything now? Don't want to take any of that apart. If you look at clothing inventory, by the way, down below it'll sometimes tell you what it will disassemble into, and you can see here it's repaired with these types of items. This one doesn't mention it. Let's go over to our piles here. So winter boots and socks. Let's grab the winter boots. They don't fit, and I've already got a pair, so we're okay there. Pair of padded gloves. Let's grab those as well. Alright, and I'm not sure why I was wearing my sock mitts when we had winter gloves, but bad miss there. We could have been avoiding a lot of the potential frost nip. Alright, let's disassemble those boots. So, a couple ways to do it. I could drop them on the ground and use the B command or butcher command in order to butcher them, or I can just look at their inventory here, and there's a disassemble option, which is Shift D. Let's try that. Cannot disassemble this, so it's not going to let us take the boots apart. Let's see if it just lets me butcher it for components. Winter boots, butcher, cut them up. Alright, that worked. So we got felt patches and plastic chunks. Unfortunately, we didn't get any leather. I don't think anything else we've got over here is likely to give us leather. The duster might. So I want to chance taking it apart. I'd really like the leather patches, or for the leather gloves. I just don't think I've got anything else I can take apart to get the leather. We've got a number of locations nearby where I left different clothing items we might go raid. So for the moment, I think what we'll do is let's go ahead and open up that menu again. We'll go to armor. Switch over to hands, and maybe we'll just do the light gloves. Warmth of 20 with a 2-2 protection versus warmth of 25 with a 2-2 protection. So, alright, we can deal with it. So, not a problem. So let's do the glove liners and the light gloves. Alright, and wear glove liners, wear light gloves. And let's take a look at our inventory again, or our layering again. So I'm looking at this part of the screen over here. I really like to see multiple items for each location. So our torso, we've got a number of items. We've got a couple for our head, a couple for our mouth, our arms, our hands, and legs. And feet, you're only ever going to see one generally. So we can take off the sock mitts. We don't need the sock mitts anymore. That will even that out. So we'll take off the sock mitts. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? I'm looking right over them, I'm sure. Pair of sock mitts. Alright. So how are we doing? Everything looks pretty good. Our legs are still showing -20, so let's see if we can find something else for the legs. So we've got boxer shorts and jeans currently. So if we bring up our crafting menu, armor, legs, bunch of choices. We could always build some hot pants. Those are close to the skin. They don't provide any warmth and only a tiny amount of protection though. Long underwear bottom, that sounds more appropriate. Warmth of 30. also close to the skin, so that's what we're going to go for. Hey, sun's coming up. If we take a look at our time, it's 6:30 in the morning. Sun is coming up. We got our long underwear bottom. We're going to wear the long underwear bottoms. And let's take one more look. Alright, so how are we doing? We got this long sleeve shirt, winter coat. Didn't we make... thought we crafted an undershirt. Maybe not, so we'll do the long underwear top. Here's the undershirt right there. Warmth of 10. Long underwear top is going to be torso and arms with 30 warmth. So what's that going to do to us? Arms and torso. That'll give us enough warmth. We might actually be able to get out of the winter coat and put that coat on that I want. Let's try it. So we're gonna go here, over to armor, and we'll do long underwear top. Dog spotted, stop crafting, no. We're going to wear the long underwear top, and we're going to take off the winter coat. Sure, drop it here, fine. Let's pick up the duster and wear the duster. And alright. And I'm just going to drop these back over here. So we're going to drop the towel and all of these other items. Okay, drop some of this back into our raw material pile. Alright, let's take a look. So, back on this list, notice our warmth is looking pretty good. Everything's in either slightly positive or only minor bit of negative value, so even once we step outside, we've got some room for that to drop and still be pretty well covered. Our encumbrance is actually looking pretty good. We've got the main encumbrance down to 30, so we were at 44 originally, so this is looking a lot better. And nothing else is high enough for me to worry too much about. Our legs are a bit encumbered, which can affect our movement rates, and that's due to just having a bunch of items. We've got +2 because we've got an overlapping layers with our legs. I believe the boxer shorts and the long underwear bottoms are both covering the same layer. So let's actually take off the boxer shorts. They're not going to provide much compared to the other item. And we'll drop those on our clothes pile. Alright, so that got rid of that. Our arms, we're seeing a little conflict. That's going to be from probably the arm warmers and the long underwear top, I think, are on the same layer, but I'm okay with that. The +2 is not hurting me much. Alright, I'm feeling a lot better. We've got our boots, we've got a number of items for our legs, our hands are fairly well covered. I wish we had a little more actual armor value, but that's good enough for the moment. Alright, much better. It took a little bit of time, but you're going to need to do this. It's very, very important, like I've mentioned previously, to get layers on all of your locations, so whatever part gets hit, the bite is going to get stopped by your various layers, so I think we're all done with that for the moment. As you saw as I was looking through the menu, there are so many choices, and this is very early in the game. I mean, this is quite the list of different kinds of things for you to take a look at and experiment with. Take advantage of the ways that you can move between the various categories to quickly find things. So if I wanted to find storage items, this is where you can find makeshift knapsacks and slings, duffel bags, a lot of choices in here, and the list just gets longer and longer and longer as you go up in skill levels and start finding books with recipes in them and so on. So that's all we're going to worry about for the clothing, but I want to do a quick review and go through some of the other sections here. We don't have a shovel yet. That's one tool we're missing so far. Bunch of other things we can use, but I'm not going to build immediately. Containers. could build a bow, but I'm going to hold off on that as well. I'm going to keep up with the throwing sticks for now. Alright. I think we're good to go on that. Now notice over here, we're hungry, very thirsty, and tired. Our focus is actually above 100. That's always good to see. We've got pretty much nothing affecting it, and so it's going to naturally decay back towards 100 unless we do something to increase our mood, which we are going to do here in just a moment. Alright. Don't need anything there. I'm not going to worry about the books for the moment. Let's grab a couple of 2x4s, drop them onto the fire. We're going to use our lighter to light that fire. And then we're going to go back into our crafting menu for food and take a look. We can cook a burrito. Let's do that. So it's going to give us 50 nutrition, which is great. It's going to make us thirsty. We still haven't solved our water problem. And I didn't bring back any water to boil, so we're stuck with whatever we've got in here to drink. I don't want the beer, cream soda, grape drink. That's not a good thing. That's an oversight again on my part. We're gonna need to go get some water, I think. So we're gonna grab the bottle, or the jar. Alright, we're gonna eat our cream soda. We're also gonna eat the grape drink. It's making us happy, but it didn't fully quench our thirst. Check our map. Yeah, during the daylight we're a lot more likely to get spotted, so I have to be careful about moving around. Not sure I want to make a run back in there. We might just try to wait out the night while we're thirsty. Well, let's go ahead and cook that burrito while we've got the fire going before I forget. So, we'll cook the burrito. We're going to eat the hot burrito. That took care of our hunger, so we're now just thirsty and tired. I think I'm going to go ahead and wait out the thirst. We'll deal with that when we wake up. But we definitely need to get some more water, so that's going to be our priority when we come back. Alright, turn that off. Alright, so we've eaten a little bit of thirst. I think what we'll do is go ahead and head down into the basement and have our guy go to sleep and call an end to the episode then, if everything goes according to plan. Now it's 7 in the morning. We're going to sleep for quite a while, depending on a few factors, so it might actually be heading back into nighttime again, which I'm okay with. I prefer sneaking around town in the dark, actually, especially when I have a character with night vision, to doing things in the daylight. So I think we're just going to go ahead and move down into the basement. We'll close the door so we can hear it, hopefully open up if anybody does visit, which isn't likely. And then we're going to... Shift 4 is the command to go to sleep, or the dollar symbol on the keyboard. So we can just say yes, or we can set a specific alarm if we know exactly how long. I'm just going to let him sleep as long as he needs to. So we'll just hit yes, and if you watch over here, you'll see time go by and some messages start to scroll through here. So let's see how things go. And time is rolling. We've moved to very thirsty. We're definitely going to have to take care of that. And 17:20, we woke up naturally. So we fell asleep, used our pile of clothes for warmth, woke up, didn't get any messages about negative effects, so we weren't too cold or anything like that, which is great. You can see here the temperature was listed as comfortable, so I knew we were going to be okay in that regard. Our focus settled into its base value of 100, no effects either way, so it'll just sit there as long as our morale doesn't change. And everything looks fine, so we'll go ahead and head back upstairs. And it's 17:20, so it's heading on to evening time, so the sun will be going down shortly. We might get a few more things done. Kind of surprised the fire's still going. let's do this while the fire is active. Let's cook one more burrito. We're hungry. We're actually going to save it until we get some water in us before we eat it, though, because it's going to make us even thirstier. Alright, got the burrito cooked. Anything else we need to cook while we got the fire going? No, we're not going to do anything with that. Alright, well, I'm going to call the episode right here, and we got a lot done. So we got our bed prepared, we did some crafting, got our clothing resorted, which was very valuable. It took a little time to explain. It's a little faster once you're comfortable with the menus and how things work, and you know a few things to look for. But very important, like I've been mentioning, to understand the layering system and how to minimize and maximize those values to keep your character warm or cold as need be, but as well protected as possible. So that was valuable time that we spent. Other than that, we just reorganized a slight bit, and for the next episode we're going to head back into town, get that thirst taken care of, and do some further looting, and hopefully kill some zombies. So hope you've enjoyed the episode and the series so far. If you have, please give it a like, and hopefully subscribe. I've got more content coming, and continue to plan to do more of these episodes, as well as a few other games I've got planned. So hope to see you in the future. Have a good day. Bye bye.